So the way that we've seen life as we know it is not the way that it can truly be. And because we've been conditioned and manipulated um, to separate our mind from the one mind, from God, from the God sort of creator mind, and from unity. And so that's what happened to ego. Ego was what created dualism and separation, and the conditioning and the manipulation of that into into an ego mind and our monkey mind that runs and runs and runs and is separate. And there's no separation from the creator, because the creator made you. You are the creator, and so to think it is what separates us. To think that we're separate is what makes the separation. And so we have to remove that lie, that illusion of separation by not believing, not believing in it, knowing that it's untrue, and that will remove that blockage and that barrier, and then you can flow freely to your original source of who you are and what you are in the ways that you can be. And it's just crazy, like how awesome we can be, honestly, because I'm not perfect in any way. I live a human life. I cry, and I have negative times and I have positive times, and I try and keep an optimistic attitude. I'm actually a hopeless optimist. It's kind of, they say hopeless romantic, you know what I mean? And it's the same idea. Like, I literally am optimistic. I always believe that it'll get better. But the fact that the reason I do is because in every moment there is change, and we can choose something different and change in a way to make it better, change our perspective, change the way that we see and experience life. We can do that. We have that choice. And so we have that ability to change within ourselves and create that change throughout our reality, outside of ourselves. And so, I mean, like, I'm literally human like anyone else, and I love seeing the humanity in people. I really do. Like, I came in, and that's why, like, nothing can take me away from my ascension to go back to God, because I went down to the lowest of the low. I mean, like, pretty low, to the darkest, shadowiest realms there is, and I anchored the light there, and I anchored the love there, and I loved anyway, and I loved anyway. And that's what I mean. Like, I have protectors and guardians of energies, and that are from the shadowy realms, that are from hell, essentially, that back and support me, because I own the shadow part of me. I own and honor the shadow parts of me. I love and honor the shadow parts of me, with everything that makes up me, even the shadow parts of me, even the dark parts of me, the terrible things that I went through. I'm not mad about it. I own it, and I honor it for what happened and how it happened, and I respect it, and I appreciate it, because it has made me who I am today. And I've gotten respect and honor back from the shadow realms and from the darker realms, the dark forces, because I'm honest and true and genuine, and I love anyway. And I acknowledge and don't dismiss and ignore any shadow part, any darkness. Because, I mean, it wouldn't there is no bad from which good does not come. There is no bad from which good does not come. And I honor that. And so I have these energies that support me and that guard me and protect me. And they're fierce, and they're like they're I've got my own demons, literally, that protect me, because they honor and respect me, because I honor and respect them, their consciousness, their energy, their existence. And I love them anyway. You know what I mean? Everything wants love. We're all made of love. It's just a different shade of love, a combination of different shades of love. That's what I mean. It's a vertical scale. It goes from the highest vibration of love, which is God, and it all goes all the way down, manifests out. And so, and we have been taught and conditioned not to see the other dimensions. They're there, and they exist simultaneously at the same time as in our reality. We just have had intentional blocks that have been put upon us, so that we can't perceive them in the ways that they actually are. We have to let go of these blockages and these beliefs that they're not there, because we can't see them. That's the actual block that makes it so that we can't see them. or know them or understand them or experience them in their consciousness, in their existence. And so, and I still can't see them either. You know what I mean? Like I get glimpses and I get like glitters and stuff like that. But I have clairsentience and I have claircognizance and I have it, you know. So I know, and I just innately I've always known that these energies were real. You know, like I was growing up. I was never scared of serial killers or kidnappers or humans that were evil. I never was. I was never scared of that stuff. And then again, I was also conditioned in MK Ultra just to like I had nightmares since I was 3 because I literally was watching Stephen King and like exposed to like terrible things when I was a kid. So I got pretty tolerant of them anyway. So you know what I mean? I thank those that tried to keep me in that state, but I ended up overcoming and using it as a tool to better myself. And that's what I mean. That's why these shadow realms and stuff like that respect me and honor, and because I honor them and I see them for what they are. But what was I saying? That these negative energies or whatever that protect me and they guard me, they're they're from they respect me because I respect them. I let them be the consciousness that they are without expecting anything them to be any way. I don't put any definitions or labels on them. I just respect and honor the consciousness and energy as it is, along with all the other ones. Like I said, it was innately within me to call upon my angels and my spirit guides, even though I couldn't see them, but I was also MK Ultra not to be able to. And so like and I've had to heal and integrate and recalibrate and remove these barriers, and I will continue to do so until I can experience them fully because I know they're there. But even though I was conditioned and manipulated and targeted into it in MK Ultra into not being able to connect to my divinity intentionally, I still found ways to be able to do it. Like I said, it was just in me. It was in me to call upon, and I still do all the time. I call on my ancestors for my highest good, and I call on my celestial star families, and I call on my elementals, and I call on Mother Gaia, and I call on my deceased loved ones, and I call on my angels and my archangels and the angelic realms and all the phylas of angels and divine creator source, my celestial star families, and it was natural for me to do. You know what I mean? And it's something that I've been practicing since it came to me to do, and I knew that it was something that I needed to do, even if I couldn't experience them in the ways that my mind wanted me to. You know, people, oh, you can't believe that because we don't see it. Doesn't mean they're not there. We just don't know how to perceive them in the ways that they are, and it's only because we've been conditioned and manipulated to not be able to perceive them in those ways. But there are many other ways that you can perceive the divine. There are many other ways that you can perceive spirit. And so you just have to open yourself up. And that means letting go of all the preconceptions that we already have. That's what actually creates the barriers, because we put these definitions and labels, and then we attach ourselves energetically to these definitions and labels. And when they don't meet this expectation this false expectation we put on them, it doesn't happen. Well, then it reinforces that belief or follows that vibration and that frequency. If you just let it go and respect consciousness and energy as it is in existence, as it already is, as it already exists, and just let it be, then you allow the space energetically for that consciousness to come in and interact with you in whatever ways that it can, and it will in whatever ways that it can. And the more you believe that you are connected to them, the more it fortifies the connection, and the more and then there are more ways that you can begin to perceive them with your senses in the different ways. Like clairsentience is feeling. It's feeling them through your senses. You know, like a brush against the skin. You know, like they'll put, they'll like, I'll feel wind against my cheek, or you know what I mean, like somebody brushing their hand against my cheek. Warmth, like a hug. You know what I mean? But you have to be open to feeling it and actually being aware and putting your consciousness in that state. And it's good to put it right here. Like when you go to your heart center and you drop down, but that means putting your awareness and your consciousness into your heart, like literally trying to put your awareness, like trying to see through your heart is what you're trying to do, pretty much, you know. And so like you try and drop down into your heart, and then from there, if you just let go of all your thoughts and you just feel the wind, against your skin, hear the sounds, you know what I mean? Just feel the sensations. That's what I'm trying to get at. Then you become open to those sensations, and then you'll be able to experience with the spirit in those ways. And so, and like I said, and the more you believe, and the more the stronger it becomes. And that's what we all want. That's actually what we all yearn for, is connection and unity. And like the dualism of the dualistic and polarization of these concepts is like, is the opposite of them. And so we get angry when we don't have that type of love. It's the opposite of whatever type of love there is. And there's many ways that love can be love. Even darkness is love. It's made from love. It really is. Evil is made from love. Evil is evil because it hurts from not being loved. And that's truth, which is love. It is. That's why I can't be mad at any energies that targeted me, because I can just see how they are lacking in love and how they want love, and the things that they do in the absence of that love, because they don't understand that love. And so they target, and they don't know what to do. And so they resort to measures that they know and are familiar with to try and fill that void within themselves. But it never fills. It's endless, that void. And it's not the good void. There's a good void, which is 0 point. And that's where all creation begins and ends, the middle point of an infinity symbol. But the emptiness in the void within oneself of love that is missing only remains empty. And it doesn't matter how much someone takes, how much someone hurts another to fill that void. Searches outside of themselves to fill that void, it will never fill. It isn't until you go within yourself to find out why that hole is there in the first place, why that pain is there in the first place. That's the only way you can begin to fill that hole with the right things that you need. And it's usually self-love. It's giving yourself compassion and forgiveness and mercy and grace and all the ways that God does, but we don't let God be able to do and through us. Like, we have to give it to ourselves. God's already trying to give it to us. We're just not doing it for ourselves because we're believing these fallacies and lies that it's not possible when it is. It's completely possible. It's like God standing outside of a glass wall, the divine, and they're standing outside like, hello, just let me in. I'm right here. Just let me give you this love. And you're like, what? I don't know. Did you hear something? I don't know. That's what it's like being on the subtle plane. And so, and it just shows you how awesome we are, how amazing creatures we are, to be able to have become dualistic and polarized and split in such a fashion, but still be able to ascend and integrate and come back and heal. And even then, even how awesome we can be in our shadow parts. Honestly, like that, there are goddesses of the enlightened dark, and that is goddesses of the dark. They have embraced their dark. They're unified. So they're of the light, but they own their shadow and their light. So they're unified. They're whole in one. But they are very familiar with their dark side, and they're very intimate with their dark side. And that's the way you got to be. You can't ignore your dark side. You can't distract or avoid from the darkness that is within you. We are dualistic creatures. So we can't ignore that. We can't ignore the pain, and we can't ignore, because we've been taught to. You know what I mean? We've been told this, you're bad if you do this. It's like, well, why? Why? So you don't take a look at it. So you stay separated. So you stay fragmented. So you never unify and you never get stronger. That's why. Because they split us up. They separated us further and further from God. And God respects and loves, like I said, all his creations. And we all have free will choice. And the divine does too. The divine in spirit respects. That's the main thing of love, is respecting another energy. And so they do not impede. You have to ask for their help. You have to call them in. But once you do, and you believe you have, be ready for what happens. Because the higher realms run the lower realms. They just have to have permission to come in. And that's why someone like me, who came into the lower realms, and I had to go down to the lowest to anchor the light. But there's nothing that will make it so I de-anchor the light. I've already anchored it in. I already stand for the light and have unified my darkness and my light. I still have healing to go. I'm not done, but I've unified a lot and I've healed a lot and I've integrated a lot and I have support and I have love and I have energies that are amazing and that guard and protect me and support me and guide me and I call them in and I respect them and I surrender to them so that I can receive the energy that I have called upon from them. And I can't put any kind of, like I said, labels or definitions on it. I have to just be open to what that energy is going to be like and then accept it and be grateful and appreciate that I was given it in the first place to help me to grow in the ways that I need to. But that's what I mean. You got to be ready. You got to be ready for what you are going to be able to receive. Don't put a label or definitions on it, like I said, because then it just makes it so it won't happen. Because you're trying to define how that energy in existence is when it already is without your definition or label. And so you just got to respect it for that and honor it in that way. Like me, I had to go through initiations, spiritual initiations, and energetic initiations for them to be able to trust me because humans haven't been able to be trustworthy. We're in a dualistic mind. We go one way, we go another way, we go all over. And so these energies that want to support us, that there's so many energies out there, so many dimensions that can help us. But you have to earn their trust and you have to earn their respect. And once you do, though, they will support you. You can call them in, but if you don't honor them and respect them in the way, and it doesn't mean by giving them things and bribing them, it means by loving them and surrendering. Surrendering is the main thing. It's just giving up everything of yourself to them and saying, I surrender myself to you. Teach me what I need to know. I am willing to let go of everything that I know to learn from these energies. And for the highest good of all. Always say that. That helps so much. That helps immensely. And so, because then it applies only for the highest good of all for yourself and for all. And that's what you want. That's going to be the basis, the litmus of it. And so, but you have to, it takes time and it takes consistency of honor and respect and trust and integrity. That's what I mean. And the divine and spirit see me all the time. And so they know my heart and they know my intentions. It's the reason that they support me and that I have all these energies that support me and love me and are there for me is because they know my heart and they know that I don't mean any bad on anyone. You know what I mean? That I'm just and fair and truth and honesty and genuine and authentic and vulnerable and raw and real and honoring and loving and respectful and grateful and appreciative and humble and empathetic and compassionate and loving and kind and joyful and pure intended. And so but I had to prove myself. You know what I mean? And it was only because, you know what I mean? They didn't want to get hurt either. Just think of it in any other situation. You know what I mean? Just like how we wouldn't want to work. How you're not just going to give yourself to just somebody you just don't know. They're going to have to earn that. And that's through trials and tests. Honestly, that happen through our reality. They'll test us, to see and through initiation to be able to get that support, that energetic support. And I have really cool energetic support. That's what and the thing is, God doesn't want me to fear anymore. Like I've lived in fear. We all have for so long. And we don't realize fear-based energies, emotions, they're all the emotions of separation, anger, sadness, depression, just any negative emotion is a fear-based emotion. And it dictates, fear has been conditioned and manipulated upon us to the point where it dictates our own decisions and where we don't trust something, so we won't do something. And God wants me to be able to trust. He wants us all to be able to trust. He wants me to be able to be an example for the world, to be able to see that if you are fearless, that everything will be fine, that you can trust in being fearless, that you don't have to live in fear, that you don't have to let fear dictate your life, that you can be free in those ways, sovereign and independent in those ways, but free. Because when you're not living in fear, when you're not letting fear dictate your life, you are free. That is when you are truly free. And so, like, literally, I've been given, or energies have been given allowance to support me to be able to let go of fear, so that I can finally live in freedom of fear, because that's what God wants me to be. And he wants all of us to be, and I'll be an example for that in the best way that I can, for the highest good of all, in the best ways that I can. That's what I'm just trying to do. Like, honestly, that's my mission. That's what, and plus he just doesn't want to see me suffer anymore, or any of us suffer in that way anymore, where it makes it so we don't enjoy life and we don't live life in the ways that we can. And so I've actually been assigned a really cool, amazing spiritual team of defense and protection and loving energies. And some, like I said, I think I got my own hellhounds, like, for real. No shit, I've literally got energies and entities that were sent to me to try and destroy me, that actually are working for me, not in a dictatorship, like working to keep me safe and to keep me so I'm not in fear. And so I can trust, because they don't want to see me hurt like that anymore, in fear anymore like that. I've done it. I've done it already. I know exactly how that feels, and they don't want me to feel like that anymore. They want me to be okay. And so I've been assigned a lot of energies to be able to trust, to be able to trust and not worry and not live in fear anymore. And I'm so grateful. They're my fluffy friends. They're my fluffy friends. They're not, but to me, they're fluffy friends, and they're supportive and they're amazing. But to anybody that tries to attack me in any kind of way, energetically or not, they're fierce, and they can be considered demonic. Honestly, some of them, like I said, they were demonic energies and entities, Djinn, that were sent my way to take me out, that ended up seeing my heart and seeing what I was doing, and that I'm not trying to hurt anyone, and that I'm just trying to live this life, and like, just plain and simple, like, it's pretty practical the way that I'm trying to do it, and I get so much opposition for just trying to live my life, and they saw my heart and they saw my spirit, and they end up, like I said, now they actually are on my side. And so, like, it all depends on what's in your heart, and they can see that in the spirit realm. They can see that. We might not be able to see it yet with our eyes, but they can. And that's why it's good to be able to call upon them, those energies, not to hurt anyone, but for protection and for support and for guidance, and you should never feel bad for calling upon any archangel, any angel, any celestial star family, any elemental, dragons, fairies, your ancestors, for your highest good. It never feel bad to call upon them. They are there to support you, but you have to just honor and respect them, their existence as they are, their energies as they are, and for the guidance and the energy that they give you. Be grateful that you can get it, in the first place, and then be open to receiving it in whatever way that can be. Don't put a definition on the label on your ancestors. You know what I mean? Let's, like, put the definition in the label and judging, your grandma or something like that. You know what I mean? You don't want to do that. Let them come through as they already are, and they will. And then accept it in whatever ways that it can be, or that it is. Take it for what it is. Take the best, leave the rest. Always, 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 always take the best, leave the rest. The rest doesn't matter. Take what you can from any situation, apply it in the way that you can, and then move forward. But don't let anything take you down. You have come too far. You have been through too much to let any energy take anything from you. Take your experience, take your life, take your energy in any way. Don't let them. So if you have to call on other energies to help you, support you in that, do it. But you have to believe that they are, and they will, and then you can't define or label how it happens. Yeah. And there's more too, like that. It's not. It actually isn't that complicated. It's just we've been put into a complicated state. We've been conditioned and manipulated into a complicated state. But we can uncondition ourselves. We can unprogram ourselves, and then reprogram ourselves into a better state, into a more receptive state, a more accurate, universally accepted state. Like the universe, that according to universal laws, the ways that the universe works, the true ones, not the things that we've been taught to believe so far. And it's not our fault. We have to give ourselves grace so that we can let it go, and we can make room for what is really possible, for what is really possible, the potentiality of reality, how it can be if we're holding on to what we think it should be or how it should be, even if it was conditioned and manipulated upon us. If we hold on to it, then we don't make room for what is actually possible. We are holding on so that it can't come through. We have to let go of that. And then the real can come through. The true can come through. Yeah. Okay. So I pray, and my intention is that that whoever is supposed to receive this receives it, and for the highest good of all. I said with love and light to everyone, everywhere. I said, I mean, people make these videos, and and we, with our minds, we judge them in a way like this is all we see, so we think that's what their life is. No, I live a very hard life, actually. I mean, like, but I don't take it personally, and I don't look at it in that way. I don't let my perspective be like that because it's not going to help. It just isn't. To be negative in any way doesn't help. In my experience, when I'm negative, it only creates negative, and so it never has helped me in any way except to be stronger, but not to hold on to in any way. And so, anyway, yes, I love you. I love you. Spread the love, man, for real. It needs to be done. And like I said, there's many ways to love. Many, 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 many. Don't give too much of yourself. Love yourself. It's very, very important. Self-love comes first. It has to. You can't love another unless you love yourself first. And that doesn't mean selfish, and that doesn't mean egoic. It means in a way that you would love another. Love yourself in the way you would love another. Okay, I love you. Bye.